generations since the Reformation, Catholic priests in England worked in secret for fear of punishment by imprisonment or even death. For generations, Catholics were not allowed to study in Oxford or Cambridge, or to enter the legal or medical profession. For far too long, the Catholic minority were held in contempt, scorned, and distrusted by the Anglican majority. This was the context into which John Henry Newman was born on February 21, 1801 in London. As a child, he knew God through Bible stories. At age 15, he came to know God through reason and faith. He went on to study at Trinity College in Oxford, and following his graduation, was elected a fellow at Oriel College in the same university. 2 years later, he was ordained an Anglican priest and appointed vicar of the University Church of St. Mary the Virgin. Newman's method of preaching and his messages captivated congregations. He quickly became the most influential preacher in the country and a highly regarded theologian. His pastoral as well as scholarly duties led him to study the Church Fathers, the teachers of early Christianity. In his studies, he discovered that the teachings of the ancient church had largely been abandoned in the Anglican Church, while the same teachings had been preserved and developed organically into doctrines by the Catholic Church. So, in an effort to reconnect the Church of England with its origin, Newman and a few of his colleagues began the Oxford movement in 1833, releasing a series of theological publications called Tracts for the Times, in which they defended Catholic doctrines as part of the authentic Christian faith. Newman's preaching and writing abilities made him the natural leader of the Oxford movement. The tracts captivated the English population, but it also created intense hostility from some Anglican clergy. In 1841, Newman released Tract 90, in which he argued that the defining doctrines of the Church of England were fundamentally Catholic than Protestant. That tract proved to be his last. Newman was censured by the authorities of the university. The Bishop of Oxford demanded that the tracts come to an end. Bishop after bishop condemned the tract. In response, Newman decided to withdraw from Oxford and from public life. He resigned his post in St. Mary's and took up residence in Littlemore, a small village near Oxford. There he began a quiet life of prayer and fasting as he continued his search for the truest form of the Christian faith. But the rejection continued and came from all corners. More and more church leaders came out publicly against him. He was condemned in media and denounced as a traitor by society at large. Through it all, Newman continued to trust God. In Littlemore, he wrote an essay demonstrating how the doctrines of the Catholic Church were the growth and fruit of the ancient teachings of the Church of the Apostles and Fathers. He began writing it as an Anglican desperate to restore a Catholic sense to the Church of England. By the time he finished writing it, he was convinced he could not stay where he was. On October 9, 1845, John Henry Newman was formally received into the Catholic Church, the one true fold of the Redeemer, as he himself put it. He immediately resigned his fellowship at Oriel College, for he knew he could no longer hold it as a Catholic. His conversion led to further rejection. He was ostracized by his family, friends, and colleagues. He became an outcast in England. Unfazed, he set out to study for the priesthood and was ordained in Rome on May 30, 1847. Newman continued to preach and to write defending the Catholic Church and expressing his theological convictions. But his life as a Catholic priest was beset with controversies. Many in the church doubted his sincerity. Some even suspected him to be an Anglican spy sent to undermine Catholicism from the inside. He became so despondent at one point that many expected him to return to the Anglican Church. But he declared, "I have not had one moment's wavering of trust in the Catholic Church ever since I was received into her fold." In the end, he was vindicated. In 1879, Pope Leo XIII named him a cardinal in tribute to his extraordinary work and devotion. 2 years prior, he returned to his beloved Oxford for the first time in 34 years to receive the first honorary fellowship of Trinity College, a testament to how his influence had helped turn around England's view of Catholics and Catholicism. John Henry Newman died of pneumonia on August 11, 1890, at the age of 89. His whole life was dedicated to the pursuit of truth, wherever it might lead him. It eventually led him to the Catholic Church. In his baptism, he would have been asked, "What do you seek from the Church?" And he would have answered, "Faith." He would have then been asked, "What might that faith offer you?" He would have answered, "Eternal life." With his death, Newman's journey towards the truth was now complete. John Henry Cardinal Newman was canonized by Pope Francis on October 13, 2019.
Turning my back on things that I own, 'cause there is more to be had than letting go. No standing, no reasoning can ever satisfy my soul.
Vida, vida, vita eterna. Vida, vida, vita eterna.
After all that is done and said, there is that still small voice in my head, a supernatural call, piercing through this impervious wall. Deep calls to deep, heart speaks to heart. Rouse from your sleep, it's not too late to start. Seek and you'll find what you're looking for. On the other side, there is more.
Vida, vida, vita eterna. Vida, vida, vita eterna.
What shall it profit me if I gain the whole world and lose my soul in the end? No wealth, no fame, and no